So you're thinking about moving to Lubbock, Texas. Well, hey, in this video, I'm going to talk about all the pros and the cons of moving to Lubbock, Texas. And you might have heard some pros from somebody else that you know that has been to Lubbock, or you might have heard about some cons about Lubbock. Well, I hope after you watching this video, you can make an informative decision for yourself on if you decide to move to Lubbock or not. And stick around until the end, because I'm going to talk about a pro that I think might help make a decision for you to move to Lubbock. And we're going to get after it right now. And hey, if you are new to this channel, I'm Sam Riddle with Brick and Loft Realty here in Lubbock. And if you want to know everything there is to know about Lubbock, the good, the bad, things to do, just everything Lubbock, then be sure to subscribe and tap that bell for notifications so that you can be the first to know when a new video pops up. I get calls, texts, emails every single day from people just like you looking to make their move to Lubbock, Texas. And so whether you're looking to move in 9 days or 90 days, I'd love to hear from you. Give me a call or give me a text, and I'd love to make a smooth move for you and your family to Lubbock, Texas. And so as I mentioned, we are going to talk about the pros and the cons of Lubbock. So if you don't know, which a lot of people don't, is Lubbock is the 11th largest city here in Texas. And if you don't know where Lubbock is, we're in the northwest panhandle of Texas, which is a little bit close to New Mexico and also Oklahoma. So we are right on the border between those two states, and Lubbock's economic growth is one of the first pros that I want to talk about today. So we are currently a little under 275,000 people here in the city of Lubbock. We are projected to get to 275,000 people by 2025, which is just in 2 years, and then 500,000 by 2050, which is crazy growth. And one main reason why we are growing so much is because it is pretty affordable to start a business. And so a lot of people are coming here to start their own business. We're also getting a lot of corporations or bigger franchises coming here. For one, like HEB. We got an HEB that came here. And if you don't know what HEB, you're about to. It is the most amazing grocery store. We have local grocery stores, of course, United and Market Streets, but HEB is by far bigger in Texas. So it's a great grocery store, but we only have had that for about a couple years. So they're projected to grow even more here in Texas or here in Lubbock. But yeah, so we have a lot of bigger businesses coming in. And then also, if you want to start your own company, we have a ton of growth for that. South Lubbock is where a lot of our development is happening right now. Tons of newer buildings are coming up, and tons of people are moving here to essentially either start a clothing company or food. Our food scene is nuts here in Lubbock. We have a ton of good, crazy good food that most people don't realize about Lubbock. I don't think that a lot of people realize how much food we do have per capita, but we do have quite a few. We got Snooze, which is a larger franchise here. I don't know what other states it is, but I know it's in other cities here in Texas. But they just came here to Lubbock. And so, yeah, economic growth for those two to start a business, and larger corporations are seeing the need for their businesses here in Lubbock. And then also in the last 5 years, we've seen a 4% growth in the population, which is huge. Like I said, we're continuing growing. We're continuing to build homes. So our growth has not slowed down here in Lubbock. We are far enough away, and I'll get after that in a second, but we're far enough away from major cities to where some of those bigger economic forces don't necessarily always impact us. And then the second pro is lower cost of living, which kind of feeds into the bigger cities. So bigger cities, we are about 4 to 5 hours from Dallas, about 6 hours from Austin, and about 8 to 9 hours from Houston, depending on where you are going in Houston. So We are a little further away from all three of the major other cities here in Texas. And so, however, the reason why I'm saying this is a pro is because we are a smaller town, but with bigger city amenities. We're also super close to New Mexico, like I mentioned earlier. And in New Mexico, you can go hiking, biking, trails. You love to be outdoors. You're super close to some of these other states that have amazing opportunities for you to go out and explore. Also, with the low cost of living, we don't have state income tax. So that means that if you are moving here from another state with state income tax, you don't have to worry about that anymore. However, yes, we do have a little bit higher taxes, but I also think that by eliminating your state income tax, you're still saving if you are moving from some of those states with a really high income tax. Also, with our low cost of living, we're about 2% less than the state's average, which is pretty big. So that's almost a 2% raise if you do move here. And your money just goes a lot further here in Lubbock. And I'm gonna have another video about the cost of living that goes into a little bit more detail about the cost of living. So your money just goes a little bit further here in Lubbock. The average income is about $55,000, which seems a little low, especially if you're moving from other states where $55,000 is pretty low where you live. But here, that's our average, and our average age is about 31. So, we are attracting a younger crowd because our cost of living is so much lower than the rest of the state, and also some neighboring states around us as well. Third pro I want to talk about is our schools. So I don't know if you've heard about Texas Tech University, but Reckham. I went to Texas Tech. I graduated from Tech. I'm originally from Austin, but I came to school here and I fell in love with Lubbock. So Texas Tech University we have tons and tons of students. It's growing each and every year, moving here to go to Lubbock and are staying here because of the growth opportunity that they see in their career. And with that, a lot of parents and family members are also moving here to be close to either their kiddo or to family. So we're seeing a lot of that growth as well too. And then also our schools, so two of our major school districts are Friendship and Cooper ISD. Each of those school districts is adding a new high school, which is huge. It's a huge deal that just got passed. They're going to open at the end of fall of 2023, so the end of this year. And that's going to start on the high schools, but then also too, Friendship, I believe, is also opening up a middle school and an elementary school. So our students are growing. That also shows you, how much Lubbock is growing for us to be voting on these bonds to increase our schools and to continue pouring into the younger generation here. And lastly, the last pro I wanted to talk about is the people. I can't say enough good things about Lubbock and its people. We are such a close-knit community. And when you move here, you're gonna realize that, because if you're not a Red Raider fan, you might not fit in, or you might not want to say anything during game days, because there are Red Raider flags flying at every grocery store, at every house. Reckham Tech lives in our blood, y'all. And we do say y'all a lot. And not only that, is we're so friendly. We are super friendly to one another. We wave to each other down the streets. We do still have some county roads. So you can wave to people there. Holding the grocery store, or holding the doors for the grocery store. One of our major grocery stores here, United and Market Street, they actually take your groceries to your car and unload them for you. There are no carts in the parking lot, so they come and take your groceries from you. And so we're just a West Texas feel and a West Texas vibe, and so if you do move here, you have to respect those values, to be nice and to pour into people and just to love one another, because we truly do care for one another here in the city. If there's a need, we definitely rally together and we just pour into whoever needs that help. So I definitely think that the people is something that is not talked about enough. I don't think you realize, but I think once you do immerse yourself in our culture and realize, hey, this is not a bad place to live. Not only do we have a low cost of living, not only are our schools great, our economic growth, but you're also surrounded by some really great people. to go off the people, I just wanted to say one last thing before I move on to some of the cons, is at one point in time, we were ranked friendliest city in America. Now, I don't know where that stands today, but there's a reason why that was a billboard at one point in time. So next I'm gonna get into the cons. And with the cons, I am gonna talk a little bit about the pros. So you can see, hey, will the pros outweigh the cons if you do decide to move here? So one major con is the weather, which I'm sure if you have Googled anything about Lubbock, Texas, you have seen or heard about our weather. Our weather is very inconsistent. We could have a snowy day, we could have a sunny day, a rainy day, and a hot day all in one day. I mean, that's 4 seasons in one day. I mean, it's happened. It happened in the springtime. In January, it snowed, and then the next few hours, it was hot outside. It's crazy. And then also in the springtime, it is windy. So that's what we're experiencing right now. It's windy, y'all. I mean, the fact that my hair is down today is pretty impressive because, 9 times out of 10, you don't want to walk outside without a baseball cap, or ladies, if you have a hair tie, because honestly, it's not only windy, but it attracts a lot of dust, especially in South Lubbock. South Lubbock is growing, a lot of dust is in the air, so there's constant dust coming into your cars and stuff. However, it only lasts for about a day, and then my pro to the weather is after a really windy day, it's going to be you can almost bet that it's going to be gorgeous the next day, which is we call a bluebird day. And number 2, I kind of mentioned it earlier, but I think a con is the proximity to major cities. We are a little bit further, like I mentioned, from Austin, Dallas, and Houston, which are going to be your other 3 major cities here in Texas. But like I said, we are so close to New Mexico, also Colorado. You can get to Colorado in the same amount of time it takes you to get to Austin, which if you do like the outdoors, Colorado, I love to ski, I love to snowboard, so I love going to Colorado a lot. I'm in the winter months, and in the winter months in Austin, it's pretty hot. So you're not really getting much winter if you're down there, especially Houston too. You're super close to Colorado, super close to New Mexico. So if you enjoy those types of sports, I don't mind it because you do whatever you lack with those other major cities. It makes up for with the close neighboring states. And lastly, number 3 of the cons is the terrain here in Lubbock. It is flat. Flat. You can drive down one of the major roads as Indiana or Quaker Slide, and then you can see for miles if it's not a windy day. So I think, growing up in Austin, I was so used to different elevation in the hill country, that you probably have heard about if you have ever, driven through Austin. You see the beautiful trees. Or here we don't have a ton of trees. We don't have a ton of green grass everywhere. Majority of the time it's going to be pretty dull because we don't get a ton of rain. And so that is one of the cons that I do miss about living in a different city, like Austin, because I do love being able to see the beautiful trees and the green grass and everything. But you can water your lawn, of course, and you can always go, like I said, back and visit these other cities, but that is one of the cons here. But if you go, I did want to point out, we are also super close to Palo Duro State Park, which is the 2nd largest state park compared to the Grand Canyon. It is gorgeous. You can hike. We're only about an hour and a half to 2 hours away from there. It's kind of up in Canyon or Amarillo area, which is just north of us. And so you can go out there, hang out with the family, take your dogs. It's absolutely gorgeous. So we do have that here. And so to end it, yes, we do have some cons about living in Lubbock, and we are a little bit further away from major cities. We are a little bit flat. It is a little bit windy. However, if you like the cultural scene and the food scene and just being around good people and not having to stretch your dollar for every penny and save constantly because everywhere you live is just so expensive with taxes, well, then Lubbock might be the perfect place for you. And so if you like this content, be sure to subscribe and hit that bell for notifications so that you can be the first to know whenever a new video hits, and we will see you around soon.